Let me tell you something that might be hard to hear. Your child didn't wake up one morning and decide to leave you. Nobody does. Abandonment doesn't arrive like a storm, sudden and without warning. It creeps in like winter, slowly, quietly. One missed phone call at a time, one shorter visit, one conversation that ends with a sigh instead of, I love you. But here's what most parents never realize, and I mean never realize, before their child pulls away for good. They give you warning signs, clear ones. They don't write you a letter. They don't sit you down for a formal conversation. They do something much simpler. They ask you questions, 5 questions to be exact. 5 questions that sound ordinary, maybe even annoying, but each one carries enormous weight beneath the surface. Each one is your child reaching out, testing the water, asking one fundamental thing. Is this relationship still safe for me? And how you answer, or how you fail to answer, determines everything. In more than 40 years as a clinical psychologist, I've sat across from hundreds of families in crisis. Parents who couldn't understand why their children disappeared, adult children who couldn't explain why they had to leave. And in nearly every single case, the pattern was the same. The child asked, the parent didn't hear, and then one day, the chair at the dinner table was empty. Today, I'm going to walk you through all 5 questions. I'll tell you what each one really means beneath the surface, the most common mistakes parents make when they hear them, and, most importantly, exactly what to say to turn things around. And please, stay until the very end, because question 5 is the one that tells you the door is almost closed. If your child has already asked that question, your window is narrowing, but it is not shut yet. Let's begin. Question 1. Why do you always have to say that? This is usually the first sign, and it's the one most parents brush off completely. Maybe your child says it after you've commented on their weight, their parenting, the way they spend money, or the person they're dating. It could be anything. The specific topic almost doesn't matter. What matters is the word always. When your child uses the word always, they're not reacting to what you said right now. They're reacting to a pattern. They're telling you, I've heard this before, many times. And every time you say it, I feel a little less seen and a little more judged. I call this the repetition protest. Your child isn't protesting the content of your words. They're protesting the repetition itself. Because repetition in a relationship sends a very specific message. I don't believe you've changed. I don't trust you to handle this. I still see you as the person you were 10 years ago. And that is a painful message to receive from your own parent. Now here's where most parents go wrong. The instinct is to defend yourself. I say it because it's true. I'm just trying to help. If you'd listen, I wouldn't have to keep saying it. Every one of those responses confirms exactly what your child fears, that you will never stop, that you cannot see them as they are now, that the script will never change. So what do you say instead? Something simple, something disarming, something like, you're right. I do say that a lot. I'm sorry. What would you like me to understand instead? That's it. 16 words. But those 16 words tell your child, I heard you, I see the pattern, and I'm willing to break it. In psychology, we talk about cognitive rigidity, the tendency to repeat the same thought patterns regardless of new information. It's natural, it happens to everyone. But in a parent-child relationship, rigidity is a slow poison. Your child is growing and changing every year. If your responses don't grow with them, they start to feel invisible. And invisible people eventually walk away. Question 2. Do you even care what I think? If question 1 is a yellow light, question 2 is the light turning red. This question is what I call the validation test. Your child is not asking whether you love them. They already know you love them, in your own way, on your own terms. What they're asking is something different, and in many ways more important. Does my voice matter in this family? Am I treated as a capable adult whose opinions have weight? Or am I still the child whose ideas get overruled? This connects to something psychologists call self-determination theory. Every human being, regardless of age, has three core psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When your adult child shares an opinion and you dismiss it, correct it, or talk over it, you're striking at all three. You're saying, you're not capable of good judgment. Your independence doesn't count here. And our connection is conditional on you agreeing with me. You may not mean any of that, but that's what lands. The most common mistake? Dismissive reassurance. Of course I care what you think, said quickly, automatically, without actually demonstrating it. Your child doesn't need to hear that you care. They need to feel it. And they feel it when you do one simple thing. You ask a follow-up question. Not, of course I care, but I do care. Tell me what you're thinking. I genuinely want to hear it. And then, this is the hard part. You listen. Without correcting. Without offering your version. Without steering the conversation back to what you think is right. You just listen. I've seen this single shift save relationships that were months away from collapse. When an adult child realizes that their parent can sit with a different opinion without fighting it, something changes. The walls don't come down all at once, but they start to. Question 3. Can we just have one conversation without drama? When your child says this, they are telling you something critically important. They are exhausted, not angry, not ungrateful, not dramatic, exhausted. I call this the exhaustion signal. Think about it from their perspective for a moment. Your child has a full life, a career, maybe children of their own, responsibilities, stress. They have a limited amount of emotional energy each day, just like all of us. And when they call you or visit you, they are choosing to spend some of that energy on you. That is a gift. But if every interaction involves conflict, old grievances, unsolicited advice, passive-aggressive comments, guilt trips about not calling enough, then every interaction becomes a withdrawal from their emotional bank account. And when the withdrawals consistently exceed the deposits, the account goes bankrupt. The brilliant psychologist John Gottman studied this pattern extensively. He found that healthy relationships maintain a ratio of roughly 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction, 5 to 1. When that ratio drops, when negativity starts to dominate, the relationship enters what he called negative sentiment override. Everything gets filtered through a lens of frustration. Even neutral statements start to feel like attacks. When your child asks for one conversation without drama, they're telling you that the ratio has flipped. The account is running dry. And they're giving you one more chance to make a deposit instead of a withdrawal. The mistake? Getting defensive? Drama? What drama? You're the one who's dramatic. That response is the drama they're talking about. It proves their point. It exhausts them further. The correct response is almost shockingly simple. You're right, I hear you. So, how was your week? Tell me something good. That's a deposit. No agenda, no lecture, no old wounds, just presence, just curiosity, just ease. Your child doesn't need you to fix everything. They don't need you to process every family issue in every conversation. Sometimes, they just need their parent to be a safe, calm place to land. Be that place. Question 4. Why can't you just be happy for me? Of all 5 questions, this one may carry the deepest wound. I call this the joy rejection wound. And in 40 years of practice, I can tell you, this is the wound that adult children carry the longest and forgive the least. Here's what happens. Your child comes to you with something good, a new job, a new relationship, a decision about how to raise their children, a move to a new city, an adventure they're excited about. They come to you glowing. And they come to you specifically because your approval still matters more than almost anyone else's on earth. And instead of joy, you give them worry. Instead of celebration, you give them caution. Instead of, that's wonderful, you give them, but have you thought about? The word but erases everything before it. Your child hears, I'm not happy for you. I'm afraid for you. I don't trust your choices. Your joy is my anxiety. Now I understand where this comes from. I truly do. It comes from love. It comes from decades of protecting your child from harm. But your child is no longer a child. And the most loving thing you can do for a capable adult is to let them feel joy in your presence without having to defend it. In attachment theory, we describe a secure base as a relationship where a person feels safe to explore the world and come back to share what they found, all of what they found, including the good things. When a parent cannot share in their child's happiness, that base becomes insecure. The child learns, I can bring my problems to mom or dad, but not my joy. My joy makes them nervous. And slowly, they stop bringing anything at all. The response your child needs is this: that's wonderful. I'm so proud of you. Tell me everything. Celebrate first. Concerns later if they're asked for, and only if they're asked for. And sometimes the right answer is to keep your concerns to yourself entirely. Your child is an adult. Trust them. Question 5. Is it even worth it anymore? If your child says these words to you, or if you sense they're thinking them, even without saying them out loud, then I need you to understand something. This is the final audit. Your child is standing at the door. They haven't walked through it yet, but their hand is on the handle. Is it even worth it anymore? Is not a question about a single argument, a single holiday, or a single phone call. It's a question about everything, the entire relationship. Your child is looking at 40, 50, 60 years of history and asking, does the love I receive from this relationship outweigh the pain it costs me? That is the most consequential question a child can ask about their parent. And most of the time, they don't say it out loud. They express it through behavior. The calls become shorter, the visits less frequent, the text messages one-word answers. They stop sharing news, good or bad. They're polite but distant, present but unreachable. And here is where I see parents make the most devastating mistake of all. When they sense their child pulling away, they reach for guilt. After everything I've done for you, I sacrificed my entire life for this family. You owe me more than this. I need to be direct with you. Guilt does not bring people closer. Guilt is a chain, not a bridge. And no adult child, no human being, has ever been guilted into genuine love. What guilt does is accelerate the very thing you're afraid of. It pushes your child out the door faster. The great psychologist Erik Erikson described the final stage of human development as a choice between integrity and despair. Integrity means looking at your life honestly, accepting what you've done well and what you've done imperfectly, and choosing growth even now. Despair means clinging to control, demanding that the world validate every choice you've made, refusing to change because changing would mean admitting fault. Your child can feel which one you're choosing, and they will match it. If you choose despair, if you choose guilt and control and defensiveness, they will choose distance. But if you choose integrity, if you choose honesty and openness and the willingness to grow, they will choose to stay. So what do you say when you feel your child conducting this final audit? You say the hardest, most courageous words a parent can ever say: I don't want to lose you. I know I haven't always gotten it right. Tell me what you need from me. I'm listening, and I'm willing to change. That is not weakness. That is the single strongest thing a parent can say, because it requires something most people never develop: the courage to be imperfect out loud. The bigger picture. Notice that these 5 questions aren't random. They follow a very specific emotional sequence. Each one represents a deeper need than the one before. Why do you always have to say that? A need to be seen as they are now. Do you even care what I think? A need to be respected as a capable adult. Can we just have one conversation without drama? A need for emotional safety. Why can't you just be happy for me? A need to share joy without judgment. Is it even worth it anymore? A need to know the relationship is worth the cost of staying. That's all your child is asking for. Not perfection, not a flawless parent. Just a parent who is willing to hear these questions for what they really are. And I want you to hold on to this, because this is the most important thing I'll say in this entire message. Your children do not ask these questions to hurt you. They ask because they still hope you'll hear them. The day they stop asking is the day you should truly worry. A question, even an angry one, even an exhausted one, is still a bridge. Silence is the wall. If your child is still asking, the bridge is still standing. Walk across it now. I know some of you are watching this and thinking, it's too late. I've already failed. My child has already pulled away. I hear you. And I want to tell you something from 4 decades of working with families in pain. It is almost never too late. Not fully. Not completely. I have seen parents in their 70s and 80s rebuild relationships that seemed permanently broken. I've seen adult children in their 50s pick up the phone again after years of silence because their parent finally said the words they needed to hear. You cannot change the past. You cannot unsay the things you've said. But you can change what happens next. You can change the very next conversation. And sometimes, all it takes is one sentence, spoken with sincerity, spoken with humility, spoken with love. I hear you, and I'm going to try. If you're reading this right now, you are already braver than most. Most parents never look at a list like this. Most parents never ask themselves, could I be part of the problem? The fact that you're here tells me something important about you. You love your children enough to be uncomfortable. And that kind of love, the kind that heals. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 questions have you heard from your child? Or maybe you've heard a different question that I didn't cover. Share it. Your experience might help another parent who's listening. And if you know another parent who needs to hear this, share it with them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for a friend is to send them something that opens their eyes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being brave. And I'll see you in the next one.